Alright, got another scrim here, as this time we have the guys of Sjolopimperne taking on what is sort of a Team Cheesecake amalgamation of a couple of players. I'm going to call them Team Cheesecake because Noob Big Noob and Squiz are both members of Team Cheesecake. And I believe they're a little bit in flux in terms of what players they've actually got. Interesting. In a different window right now, but it shows me as sort of in that. Anyway, let's see if I can find this and look it up. Sorry, that was me. So, short family, yeah. This is just 2 players from Team Cheesecake as far as I can tell, but at least based on their home tour listing. But whatever, we'll call them Team Cheesecake because they've got 2 players there that are from Team Cheesecake, and maybe they're trying out new people, maybe they're not. There's also this Kiang people get wrecked, apparently. So, 2 players from that. Bit of a amalgamation, apparently. And we'll see how they do against Sjol. But the bans are out. We've got Puppet Master and Rhapsody getting taken out by the Legion side, and Kronos and Ophelia being removed by the Hellborn. So 4 bans there that make plenty of sense, and nothing we haven't seen a lot of already. Legion side will start off their ban with Drunken Master, picks, with Drunken Master and Solstice, and Hellborn are going to counter with Torturer. Picking up that Torturer, obviously, as Rhapsody is banned. Very, very common to see Tort picked up early on, especially if Rhapsody is picked by the other team or if Rhapsody is unavailable. So, makes some sense there. They will follow that up with Zephyr, which is a hero we don't see too much anymore, as he really requires a good start, has to snowball pretty hard, and even then can only really do a lot in the mid-game. As the game gets later, it's a little bit more difficult for him to have an impact. He does get tankier, he obviously does get better, but it's pretty clear, I think, that his optimal stage for doing a lot of damage, for pushing, for winning team fights really hard is in that mid-game. And we'll see how the rest of the Hellborn lineup shapes up, but at this point probably looking for a mid-game oriented team, and honestly so is the Legion to some extent. Solstice bit, very pretty late game oriented, so not as much as Drunken Master, but Drunken Master definitely a very powerful in the mid-game, hero at the mid-game, and continues to get powerful, of course, as the game progresses, but more of a mid-late game oriented type carry or type hero, depending on what sort of role they're going to run him in, whether it's going to be an initiator or a primary farmer. They're soft picking Draconis here, so we could see if they just decide to bring out the dragon. Solstice obviously going to be in the jungle, almost certainly, and Draken obviously has plenty of potential to duel, to go mid, to go dual lane, to go solo short, to go suicide. He's got all sorts of opportunities. Zephyr likely going to be seen in that middle lane, and Torturer could pair with him, could go in the short, or we could see a tri-lane, actually. And Zephyr could certainly be a part of that as well. Andra's going to be the pick here. Interesting, not the one I would have gone with. If you're going to go support here, Empath is still on the board, Witch Slayer is still on the board, Pyromancer is still on the board, Master of Arms is still on the board, even Glacier is still on the board. Andro has a multitude of problems, and not only is she extremely short range, which makes it difficult for her to lane particularly well. She has a swap, that ability. It's not super great until it hits level 11, and obviously as a support hero, your levels are going to be slightly lower than everybody else. Not to mention, you've got a single target stun, and that's your only real method of CC and of damage dealing. The Aurora is nice, but it's not consistently great. Bensington, in fact, will be the counter to that, and obviously that's going to be played as a suicide. Very powerful hero, no doubt, as we see him regularly picked up. And I'm liking the Hellborn's lineup quite a bit more than the Legions at this point. They have really strong mid-game team fight. They've got really strong mid-game gank, and I think they might look to be ending this game within half an hour, as that's probably when they're going to be the most powerful, and if they let it go particularly a lot longer than that, unless they're just rolling, then Sjol could have some pretty good stuff. New Big Noob here banning Master of Arms. Interesting. The Solstice to Andromeda suggests they're looking for 2 farmers. So Master of Arms could certainly be run in that farm role, but we almost certainly always see him as a support, and I would imagine banning out more traditional short laners, more traditional mid-type heroes, Dr. Repulsor, or Aluna, I guess, is another ban. So do they think that they're going to farm Andromeda, or that they're going to run Solstice in lane? because Hellborn are banning out supports here, and this is odd. And now Legion's banning out a support and Empath, as well as the Dr. Pulsar and Rally, so obviously Rally very versatile, and could be running the 3 lanes, really. I don't like the hero, so I'm glad he's gone, but could certainly fit the Hellborn side. They do lack somewhat reliable stuns, though, and Rally's Compel is closer to it than really Torturous Chain Reactions or the Joust, I think, but not exactly a targeted ability like, you know, Andromeda. Dr. Pulsar also making plenty of sense, of course. Could see that Zephyr in the middle lane, Doctor short. That would be a little greedy, just because Doctor and Zephyr both need a lot of farm, but it would certainly make some sense in this lineup. Definitely a strong gank hero, would pair well with guys like Bensington. And Hellborn going to finish off their bans with Wretched Hag, which makes a good amount of sense, as the rest of the heroes they banned, not so much, but Hag making plenty of sense here. Witchslayer going to be the first pick in the Legion side, so we're likely going to see a farming Witchslayer here. And with the CC tools that he has, Zephyr and Sir Benzington, and Bubbles for that matter, actually, going to find it very difficult to maneuver around these team fights between the stun and the hex. I guess technically it's a miniaturization, but whatever. Bubbles obviously the pick there for the Hellborn side, as we could certainly see him. I think he's in the middle. So likely going to see a Bensington Suicide, Bubbles mid, Zephyr Torture in the top lane. So I'm looking for a jungler here at this point. I think Tempest on the board is likely, they got Andromeda, so maybe not Parasite. I'm feeling the Parasite or the Keeper. Keeper. I like Keeper here. I can't imagine they won't pick a jungler, just because it doesn't seem like the tri-lane is going to work out super well. Bensington and Bubbles both like the solo. I mean, we certainly could see it, but I think that if it's support, it's definitely going to be a tri-lane, which absolutely telegraphs their moves, and it shows the Legion side what they're doing, although in general it's going to be really easy to predict these lanes anyway because of how they're set up. Meanwhile, here on the Legion side, I think we're going to see Drunken Master in the Suicide role. That's what seems to make the most sense. And then Swiftblade likely going to be solo, or not solo short, but short lane with Andromeda, Witchslayer in the mid, and Solstice in jungle. So they have a lot of stuns here. They have 4 heroes with stuns, and Legionnaire will be the jungle option, so not a huge fan of that. They've got pushing potential already with Zephyr and Torture, and Keeper of the Forest would have amplified that pretty substantially. Torture obviously preventing building damage, Zephyr can take down creep waves, and obviously Keeper providing some minions to absorb tower damage as well as do extra damage to buildings. And plus the ultimate would have, that plays well with Bubbles' ultimate, it plays well with Zephyr ultimate, it plays well with Benzin ultimate, and the Nature's Veil no doubt helping to set up some ganks for these gank-oriented heroes. I really would have liked the Keeper pick here. I think that would have fit their lineup a lot better. Legionnaire I'm not quite as on board with. But both sides, no doubt, confident in their drafts, and I don't think either side really got a substantially better draft. Hellborn definitely more mid-game oriented, definitely looking to end the game quicker. Legion side absolutely has the late game here. Solstice, Swiftblade, and Drunken Master. I mean, you could argue each one of those is a harder carry than anything the Hellborn have, and I mean, between the 3 of them, it's basically going to be impossible for the Hellborn to win this game, I think, if it goes longer than about 45 minutes. Unless they're just rolling over the Legion side. The only reason it's going so late is because they're playing super cautiously. So we'll see how things shape up here, but once again we're going to see the Suicide Swiftblade. So my initial assumption here of the Drunken Master in the Suicide lane appears to be wrong, and we're actually going to see the Suicide Swiftblade in the mid Drunken Andromeda, and the solo bot Witchslayer. Bit of a non-traditional lane setup, of course, but this is a scrim, so that's what's going to happen. And we saw, I believe, Sjol run a Suicide Swiftblade against Twisted Fusion recently that was extremely effective. So I know this was played on the 13th of June, but I'm casting it several days later. And in the meantime, I believe I've casted a different match with Sjol going up against Twisted Fusion, where the Suicide Swiftblade worked out extremely well. So we'll see if WimpOG can have similar success in this game. Definitely possible. We've seen BMG run the Suicide Swiftblade to great effect, and as I said in that game before, though, BMG is BMG. Just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else, especially a team like Sjol, who is a little bit lower tier. Not quite as adept at competitive Han as BMG is, who I think is, at this point, no doubt the best team in competitive on sync. Number 2, and after that it gets a little fuzzier. Probably going to say Reason. Well, you know, they did lose to Rexars in CSE Cycle 1, but Rexars has since disbanded, so sort of difficult to call anything other than Reason the third best team on, sort of by default. Meanwhile, middle lane, a lot of aggression between Andro and Bubbles. Andro going to have to be a little bit careful. Has her Comet Stun. No, it doesn't actually have a Comet Stun. Has her Aurora first level, which is a bit interesting. But the Shell Surf from Bubbles definitely potentially dangerous for her. So, Hellborn lanes, top we've got Zephyr and Torture. No huge surprise there, as he's using the fun Disco Zephyr ult. Mid lane is going to be the Suicide, is going to be the Bubbles in the Initiator role, and Suicide Bensington. So Hellborn's lane's relatively predictable, and nothing expressly surprising about that. Legionnaire here going to clean up creep camp, and Andrew's going to find him. Gonna try to get a CS here, and we'll actually do so. But we'll see if Andro pays for that at all. Actually, taunt goes down, and Chain Reaction's looking for it. Torture's trying to land it. And that's going to be a Bloodlust. So Dr. Rectum there. A little bit over-aggressive, I think. Actually, Hellborn's Courier dies. So, oops. Obviously, in total, that does go in favor of the Hellborn side. Going for the Bloodlust over the Hellborn, or over the Courier death. Absolutely the advantage, but no doubt that Courier is going to be a bit annoying. Torture going to have to run all the way back to base here and buy a new one. So, we'll see what happens. Bubble's still level 1 somehow, despite the fact that Andro was roaming. I guess he might have been hanging back for a while, assuming that Andro is somewhere looking to gank him and not wanting to get picked off. And Bubbles is not going to have the greatest time here in this middle lane, of course, just because it is a 2v1, but as a regularly, difficult hero to kill, he should be decently equipped to not die. Andro once again gonna go and try to mess with Legionnaire here. We'll see how well that works out. Bubble's gonna come off to the side, try to catch them out. Drunken Master's here as well. Charge goes off and stun, so Lygo will be just fine. We'll see if they do anything here. Call onto Drunken Master. He's gonna try to drag him out of the tower. That's not gonna be successful, and the Hellborn side will back out. So minimal damage used. Comet stun from Andromeda. And the taunt and charge from Legionnaire. He will head back into the woods. Bottom lane, Bensington versus Witch Slayer. This is a bit of an interesting matchup. I don't think we've ever seen it before. And we don't tend to see a lot of Witch Slayer, which I said before he was a popular support, and I'll say it again, I still think this hero is absolutely viable. The amount of CC tools he has basically just mean that he's going to be a good hero, so I don't understand why people don't pick him up more. And honestly, I do prefer him as a support, just because he's nice in the Initiator role, but not the greatest in my opinion. Can steal all sorts of mana from Bensington there, who is now out of mana. Missing some CS here, only at 260 volt per minute, so not the best, but not doing the worst either. Bensington at 181 GPM, a little bit low for a Suicide, but he's probably not super unhappy about where he is. Has a bottle. Time going off, and Slayer keeps missing these. I don't know if he's attempting to hit Bensington or what, but sends have generally not been effective. Spin there on Swifty as he's trying to make sure he's okay. Chain reactions go down though, and Gus not going to connect. So Zephyr actually kind of low here. Maybe eat some tornadoes, get some of that health back. This side here, Legionnaire once again taking these stack camps. Bottom lane, double damage Witch Slayer. Nearly getting a kill there. And up top, actually, Wimp OG gets the kill onto Spin. Jesus. So we'll see if we can get out of here, but that's not something that should happen. And he's going to be okay. So the Suicide Swiftblade, once again, proving extremely potent here for the Sjol team. And Squiz is level 4. Swifty's level 6. Why is this happening? This shouldn't happen. I'm not crazy. This is a 2v1. Bottom lane, once again, Sjol getting another kill, as a double damage per Slayer is there. And when we're auto attack, joust forward for some reason. Okay, so Bensington trying to man up there. I'm not sure if it would have been enough. Slayer still had 230 health, so probably should have just left. Especially because if that didn't work, he was definitely going to die. And as a suicide, it's much more important to not die than it is to pick up kills. So I appreciate the man up, respect it, but not a good decision. And you're going to drop a ward here in the jungle and spot out Legionnaire and be able to see the roam coming potentially from the other support heroes. But immediately gets countered. Nope, it doesn't get countered. There it is. Finally. Took a while. Zephyr here could be in some trouble. Obviously, this Legion ward, and Andro is definitely going to look to pick this up. Swift slashes are available. Instead, going to go for the spin, and this is definitely a dead Zephyr. So Zephyr taking a second death here. Swiftblade still not even having to use the ultimate, and he's now actually the top farmer in the game. Rest Legion side doing extremely well also. Everybody above 320 gold per minute. Except for Solstice in the Woods, who's at 260, and Legionnaire is at 310. So jungle doing better here for the guys on TCC, but everything is mostly going the way of the Legion side, and this is really bad. You know, as I said in the beginning, largely mid-game oriented lineup, so if you don't come out of laning phase looking pretty good, then it's going to be really hard for you to cover and win the game in the amount of time that you need to. So, not really feeling happy about this if I'm the Hellborn side. Goes forward onto Swiftblade. We'll see if he can do anything here. Has no spin, and now he's just dead. So, they do finally get a counter kill onto Swiftblade, but obviously, on balance, they're not looking too good, considering they lost Zephyr twice. Solstice looking for a gank here. Troublous Illusion might have spotted him, I'm not sure. And now it definitely did. So Bensington going to be really careful here. Will back up. Andrew coming in off the side as well. And they're looking to set up something definitely here onto Bensington, which Slayer just kind of like running forward. Mid lane Bubble's going to take some aggression from Drunken Master, but not enough to kill him. I think you have to consider, you know, with the really good start the Legion is having, is that gets them to their late game items that much faster. So not only is it very bad for the timing of the Hellborn, because, you know, they're not having the start they need to be able to take this game relatively quickly, the Legion side is getting a start that's going to propel them towards quote-unquote late game much quicker than would normally occur. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Bensington eats a silver bullet. Then he died because of the silver bullet. It costs forward there on the Swiftblade, but he pops the spin, and he's going to be just fine. Charge going down, and he will eat the taunt here. We'll see if he can actually do this. Nice decapitate there. As McNew picks up the kill, propels himself to be the top farmer in the game. So says, F you, Swiftblade. I can kill shit too, and first of all, your Blade Frenzy doesn't stop any of my physical stuff, and secondly, it wore off, so there's that. So Squiz here, though, still not having a good time. 200 gold per minute, and missing a bunch of CS. So we've seen this pretty regularly. Taking a look at the stats, 25 and 9. You compare the 46 for Solstice, 37 Swiftblade, 51 Drunken, and 40 on Witchlayer. Now, Bubbles and Bensington have even less, but man, the CS scores across the board for the Hellborn side are just not good. And I mean, that's pretty clearly reflected in their GPMs, as Zephyr's just above 200 gold per minute, everybody else below 200. And this is not pretty for the Hellborn side. So at this point, it may be a question of how long can they last, more than can they win. Top lane push coming in here, and Torture will activate the Impalement. Both Swifty and Andro off to the side here. We're going to see the spin and the Common Sun, plus at least one port. Zephyr is the first one, and that'll actually be cancelled. So they'll stop the push. They'll get a kill. And Zephyr having issues tanking that Blade Frenzy. He's died to it now 3 times. Bottom lane, Benson's going to get backed off the wave here. A regen rune bottom will be picked up by Bubbles. Going to see a couple of TPs coming in bottom, and Nightfall going to go on to Witch Slayer, who's going to be in a lot of trouble here. Takes the stun, though, before he can get the joust off, trying to land it, and that will be successful. Witch Slayer absolutely screwed. Kelpfield goes down. Going to draw at least 1 port here, and that's going to be it with the Silent Sea finishing him off. Actually, no, the Impalement got the kill, so oh well. So Swiftblade does port bottom, trying to help out his buddy, but a little bit late. I'm not sure if there's anything he had done anyway. That was a 4-man gank, and they used a couple of ultimates as well. But Swiftblade will be able to clean up the farm here in the bottom lane. It's not a bad port at all. In the end. Solstice is going to get chased off here. Shell Surf will not connect, which doesn't matter. Even if it had, there's no Shell Surf, or there's no Kelfield, excuse me. And Lego might have been able to get a taunt off.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Oh well. Mid tower does go down, actually. It's a little surprising. Pushing potential here for the Legion side is not particularly substantial, so the fact that they're getting a tower before the Hellborn do is really, really bad. Because obviously Hellborn Zephyr, they've got Torture, even Legionnaire can help out with the push, soaking Bubbles with his magic damage, taking down creep waves. Looks like they're going to group up once again and perhaps push bottom lane. Everybody here hanging around in the woods. Drugging off to the side, looking for something. Won't find it, whenever it was. And instead, perhaps going to turn his attention to middle lane, as Shell Surf was just used. So the jump is going to be here. Let's see if Bubbles can get away. Nice movement, staggers there, lunge. Nope, there's the Comet Stun, and you're in some trouble here, Bubbles. Shell Surf away. Actually, he does get out. Now, Legionnaire looking for an opening. Has a taunt. There it is. Nightfall going to be on top of this. Andro going to be in a lot of trouble. She will die to the Decapitate. Joust getting it onto Drunken Master here. See if the rest of the Legion side can show up and turn this around. Here comes Solstice with the ultimate. Going to be right in the face of 2, actually, as Bensington dies right off the bat. Bubble's going to Shell Surf away. He'll be okay. Legionnaire trying to live here. Torture coming in from the side. Has a haste rune active. And that's going to be the end of the aggression, as Lego will be able to eat his way through the trees and get the hell out of there. Ends up being a 1-for-1 with Android getting taken out in exchange for Bensington, which later going to find Torture once again. But obviously the haste rune makes that much more difficult to end. Zeph. That wasn't even necessary. Could have just used Blade Frenzy, but I guess, you know, not the worst thing. Securing the kill, going, yeah, alright, make sure we get Zephyr, who is now at 200 gold per minute still. It's just... Zeph's not going to be able to do anything this game. Bottom lane drawing a ton of ports down here is Solstice. And Legionnaire does not have a portal key, but the charge into the taunt will be plenty. Bensington with a joust there as well. We'll see if they can actually finish him off. He's pretty tanky. No ports coming in though, and Solstice is completely on his own. Kelpfield locking him down. He's totally screwed. Finally bring 1 port, but after he's dead, so not as effective as it would otherwise be. So they're doing fine getting these, you know, 4-man ganks, and that's pretty much what they have to do. They have to find kills, they have to find pickoffs, they have to slow down these Legion heroes at some point and try to prevent them from being able to do stuff. Meanwhile, Witch Slayer gonna get caught out here, and that's a kill. Just wrong place, wrong time, buddy. Obviously a very squishy Witch Slayer, you know, lots of damage at once. And he goes down relatively easily. So, a couple of hero kills there, not bad. Evening up at 7-7, and they're not super far down in either golden experience, thanks to those picks. 4k gold, 2.5k experience. They're still in, you know, it's sort of a bad position just because the farm on everybody except for Legionnaire is so bad. And Legion's farm has diminished a bit in the meantime, but it's still... You know, the Hellborn are supposed to be ahead at this point.
Had destroyed a Hellborn
top lane,
tower.
Swiftblade can take out another tower. Nightfall going down here onto Drunken Master. We'll see if they do much. Andrew going to take the joust, actually, as she swapped. And now Bensington going to be in all sorts of trouble. He will die. Solstice ultimate was in the background, does nothing though. Tornado goes down from Zephyr. We'll see if they can pick up this kill on Drunken. Yes, they can. Shell Surf coming in here as well, trying to get Solstice, couple more auto attacks will finish him off, or the tornadoes. Nice stun from Witchlayer, and nice kill. Also kills Zephyr. Solstice here trying to man up, but he will end up falling. Miniaturization plus the jump by Swiftblade and the Swish Flashes will kill Legionnaire. And Shellsurf there does not finish everybody off. Close to killing Andromeda, but it's not going to be enough. And Bubbles will just port out. He will be fine here. Up to the side, Torture trying to get away. Strider's on Witchlayer, so he might get... Yep, he's going to get caught here. And this is probably going to be a kill. Teleport coming in. Swiftblade is here. We'll see what they can do. That's going to be their kill. And Miniaturization goes off there. Joust going to hit Swiftblade, but that's it. Looking for the Lance Along, not going to be enough. And might actually try to turn this here onto Bensington, as he has the regen rune, which is nice, but Swiftblade doing a ton of damage. He's hitting super hard here, 116 damage, plus the crits, of course. So, Witchlayer throwing stuns out for no reason. We see the regen rune on Bensington expiring here. Bot tower has gone down, and Drunken might be in some trouble. Yep, there's no help nearby. Joust actually not going to hit and stagger away. We'll see. Legionnaire is going to be able to get him with the taunt. Kelpfield goes down as well, and Drunken's in all sorts of trouble. We'll take the Kelpfield stun here, plus the Lance Along, and Fred's skill day finish him off with auto attacks, or it might have been the Song of Sea. Ancients, meanwhile, are tripled and are being killed. Solstice can sense their presence, you know. Meanwhile, Witchlayer running in a little bit recklessly here. You're dead, buddy. Swiftblade going to try to turn this around, but now quickly realizing, yeah, there's a lot of those Hellborn heroes here. And maybe we should leave. Comet Sun on to Torturer, so... Once again, farm really good here on Swifty, but the rest of the Leech's side is sort of diminished at about 300 GPM for most of them. 371 on Legionnaire, and Hellborn are picking it up a little bit here. Bubbles 250, Zephyr 250. I'm still really concerned about them and their chances, but no doubt they're looking a lot better than they did, 5 minutes ago or so. Mid lane, meanwhile, Glyph will go off, and a teleport coming in. Bubbles has the Shell Surf, is going to try to get away here, does stop the stun, and that's going to be it. Drunken still pursuing, has range now for the stun. Is he going to be able to get the distance? Nope. Nightfall going to go down in the background, meanwhile, and that's actually not going to hit too much, as Drunken Master will finally pick up the kill onto Torturer, but it's going to pay for that with his own life, and that's going to be a kill on Witchlayer as well, as they're just diving way too hard here. Zephyr has the helm and is level 12, so he's not doing bad on levels at all, actually, tied with Swiftblade and Witchlayer and Legionnaire as the highest level in the game. Looking to get jumped by Andro, but won't be successful. Swift Slashes were available, but lots of creeps, of course. And all of a sudden, the experience lead is even, and the gold lead still in favor of Legion's side, but not by that much. Towers are even, with Legion taking only their tier 1 left, and Hellborn having their long lane tier 1. Jump there by Legionnaire, who has his portal key, and Solstice could be in some trouble here. Taunt goes down, Chain Reaction's looking for it, but Torturer does not have the angle. As actually he drops the Illuminate here, and might look to turn this around. Maybe not. Andro jumping in. Taunt, not successful. Solstice ultimate hitting 2, and boy, they're going to be in some trouble. Stun goes down to Legionnaire. They want him, but he's real tanky here. Swap back, and is he going to be able to get away? Very possibly, yes. Teleport coming in as well. They're looking to turn this around. Chain Reactions hit 2. Joust is there as well. Lance Along going to help finish off Solstice, perhaps? Nope. Torture dice, and in the meantime, actually, Silver goes down. Both Bensington and Torturer fall. They do finally pick off Solstice, but Invis Rune is there, and they will kill Legionnaire before the fade time hits. So, the 3-for-1 as Hellborn went for actually a really nice turnaround, but it's a little bit too much support there from the Legion side. Bottom lane Slayer grabbing some mana from that creep, and pretty substantial push here, so they might need to defend this, because if they don't, I think this is going to be a tower kill. See, I don't understand why people use the glyph like that when there are creeps. So it doesn't have to focus the tower anymore. I mean, the creeps aren't focusing the tower. It's doing nothing. That glyph does nothing. Witch Slayer, also the proud owner of a portal key, of course, and so is Swiftblade, actually, for that matter. Meanwhile, mid lane, Bubble's going to be in some trouble. Double Agent Druin on Drunken Master. We'll see if he can get away. Yeah, he can with that new portal key. Legionnaire now going to counter with the jump onto Drunken. Still has a double damage, but that's not going to be enough to save him. They do try to catch Slayer as well, but obviously he PKs away. Bottom tower eventually does fall. It's the last tier 1 in favor of the Legion. Swap there onto Legionnaire. For some reason they're going for the tank. Not sure why. He's going to try to survive here. Will not do so. Kelfield onto a couple, of course, going to stop a lot of further aggression. But there's Swiftblade with the portal key once again. Swift slashes go down, and they're actually stopped by the Joust, I think. Regardless, he didn't seem to take too much damage off to the side here. Torture. Going to get jumped by Witch Slayer. There's the miniaturization. He was going for the chain reactions. Now he's going to be in some trouble. Comet Sun gets taken, and a few more auto attacks will finish him off. Yes. Slayer gets the last hit, and that's a kill. So they lose Drunken, but they take Torture and they take Legionnaire. And Swiftblade will be backed off here. Andro going to find Zephyr, but this is not a good position for you to be in, Mr. Zephyr, or Mr. Andro. You're probably going to die. Shell Surf actually does hit there, and the song hits as well. Zephyr with no gust, but it doesn't matter. Actually, it's the last hit there.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
So, Hellborn even that up. Meanwhile, off the side here, Slayer's hasted, though. And we'll see if this turns into anything. So, Ultimate going off. Will it hit Bensington, I think, actually. Yep, and trying to get the death neutrals? No. Drunken here going to jump onto Torture, Swiftblade spin, and that's an easy kill. As Wimp OG picks up double tap, and the Hellborn side are now being like, yeah, maybe not. They will retreat. And Witch Slayer still hasted, looking for something here. Gonna find Bubbles. Has no Shell Surf, has no portal key for 2 seconds. They're gonna need to. Nope, yep, there's their counter, and now all of a sudden Legionnaire's here. We'll get the kill onto Witch Slayer. Gus missed Swiftblade, but that's okay. The Kelfield's down. He can just take the stun thanks to the Blade Frenzy, and he's trying to run away now. As Drunken Master also in some trouble. The rest of the Legion side will perhaps back it off. Nope, once again they're gonna try to turn it around here onto Zephyr, who's pretty squishy. And he will fall. Legionnaire now running away, but it gets swapped back in. Plenty of mana left on Andro from their Comet Sun when it comes back up. And it is available now. Chain reactions, though, hit her, and we'll see if Legionnaire can survive this. No, Swiftblade portal key comes back in. Andro looking for the stun, not going to be able to find it here. Torture still in some trouble, as Swiftblade's super fast and gets the kill. Obviously, that Energizer playing a lot of being really important there. Nightfall once again on Swiftblade. They're not going to stop here. Dance Along is there, but that Song of the Sea will finish him off. And is that going to be the engagement? We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. I can't tell. Legions, I don't have too much. They don't really want to fight anymore. Witch Slayer's actually back. And maybe they do want to fight. Middle lane here. Bubbles. And he's going to take a stun. Drunken, not enough mana. Just trying to get it here. Song of the Sea goes down. Couple auto attacks. Drunken going to fall. Yep. Last attack from the tower will kill him. So, Bubbles for Drunken there as well. And all of a sudden, Slayer could be in some trouble. We'll see if they can land a gust on Zephyr. Stun there. Has a portal key back up. And he will be fine. Probably. And Witch Slayer has CC tools left, and he's fine. So Zephyr has recovered a bit here at 300 gold per minute. Still not particularly effective. You saw in the last team fight, he died pretty damn fast. And doesn't really do all that much damage either. On the other hand, Hellborn are sort of sticking in this. And I'm kind of surprised that they've been able to do so. I think maybe the Legion side getting a little bit over-aggressive. And taking bad team fights meanwhile here. Witchslayer will take the Nightfall and the taunt. And you're going to be in some trouble here, buddy. Chalice goes down, Lancelong finishes him off.
You just got.
I mean, the initiation potential from the Hellborn side is pretty amazing with that Lego. Take a look at the GPM charts once again. It's, nobody's farming all that well. Pretty much everybody's farming fairly well. Even the supports aren't doing bad. Ben's a little bit low, but that's about it. Just the constant 300 GPMs and Swiftblade up at 400, but... Bot tower here will be pressured as all 5 from the Hellborn are looking to take it down. Legion sort of looking for a response here, but this is dying fast, and they're not going to be able to counter it.
The Hellborn have destroyed a
First
Legion
tier
tower.
1 goes in favor of the Hellborn. Swiftblade trying to counter in the middle lane. And he couldn't get this tower if Hellborn don't stop him. The issue is, do they even want to, or do they want to just push? They will, in fact, stop him, and he will portal key away, so they'll be able to get the deny here relatively easily. And Swiftblade TP's out.
Ain't nobody killing that tower but me.
So, 1v1 towers, of course, does favor the Hellborn, as they get the kill, and then they deny their own tower. And this resource lead is no longer insurmountable, but we are getting to the point where the Legion's heroes are just going to be better. We're not quite there yet, and once again, if they're going to keep getting jumped like this, that's not going to work. Nice swap from Andromeda, will save Drunken, but she will obviously take the death for that. As Nightfall was used as well, I think towards the end. Oh well. Top lane, meanwhile, jump onto Bubbles, as he's going to be in some trouble. Swiftblade and Swift Slashes are available. And he's trying to get for the jukes, but that's not even going to be necessary. As the 300 crit comes out, he's going to be fine. No response there from the Hellborn side. Soul's just going to take out these Ancients here, which are double stacked. On the other hand, Zephyr killing a single. Kongor, no doubt, going to be a area of interest in the next few minutes, as having a token is going to severely benefit whichever side picks it up. Bot lane double damage. Rune's been sitting there for a minute and a half. Looks like Lego will go find it. Maybe not. Maybe, in fact, they'll jump on Andromeda. The chain reaction's missed, though. Gust does hit, and the Decapitate finishes him off. Stun from Slayer hits, too, but it doesn't really matter. Good counter ward there from Torture. Will immediately destroy the ward that was just placed. Meanwhile, 28 minutes passes, so no new rune, but... So, things are getting more and more even. And, I mean, this is the point in the game where Hellborn's heroes should be more and more powerful. I anticipated that the lead that they had built up on the Legion side would serve them better than it has. And I think part of the problem is that they've been continuously getting caught out, which is, you know, that's well played to the Hellborn side. That's what they need to do, and that's how they've gotten themselves back into this game. So, we'll see. I'm a little bit less confident in the Legion's chances. I still think they're ahead. I mean, they are ahead in both resources, and the later, like I said before, the later this game goes, the better the chance that they'll have to win it. Drunken Master going to counter too. Chain reactions are there. We'll see if he gets any more jumps. No. So each side sort of towing the line. Middle lane creep way. Apparently the focus for the Legion side. Very, very important for them. As they're trying to pick somebody off. I really think they want to get a pick or two and then go Kongor. Middle lane, Hellborn are pretty well grouped up here. And And we'll see if Legion feel like that this is an appropriate time to engage. Hellborn do back off, so a bit of a standoff here as each side's like, I don't know what to do. And Hellborn are now going to take the initiative and go push bottom. Now the Legion will actually push top, so we'll see who wins this. Obviously, Legion side do have an extra tower here, so that'll give them some nice gold.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
The Hellborn, I think, will win a base race. Their push is stronger. And it's more concerted, as we've only got 3 heroes here, and the Legion's backing off. So we're going to see the Hellborn get some aggression onto the base here, and man, this tower's falling fast. There's going to be a jump. Need to be a jump here. Swiftblade. Oh, he doesn't have teleport, and that's going to cost him a tower. Jumping in there, and Solstice will drop the ultimate on a Legionnaire. Puts the barbed armor up though, and Swiftblade jumping in there with a portal key. Torture going to be the second fall after Bubbles. Bensington running away with the jouts, so they end up losing 2 heroes, perhaps more. Yep, Legionnaire also going to fall. Man, he died quickly. Zephyr is going to TP out. He should be okay. And Bensington will be just fine, as he's got lots of a head start. So the Legion side do lose their base tower, but they pick off 3 hero kills in exchange. And that should be their cue to Kongor, I think. So they're looking to de-ward around the pit, and yep. So Kongor going to go to the Legion side. It's a pretty easy kill for them. Likely going to be on Swiftblade.
Kongor has been slain.
And there it is. So we'll see if they turn that into an immediate push, or if they're going to look for more pickoffs. Obviously, pretty much everybody on the Hellborn side has respawned. 10 more seconds on the Legionnaire. I probably wouldn't fight until he's back up. Swifty doesn't have to finish off his Dawnbringer, and I'd like to see him do that with a token. He doesn't really need to save or buyback. If he dies twice, then the Legion side could be in a lot of trouble anyway. Top lane needs to get some farm up here, as they're being pretty aggressive in terms of farm on the Legion side once again, and this is how they got picked off all the time before. Now, they do have some wards, but it basically says we don't know where the rest of the Hellborn side is because they're all down here, where the Legion have no vision. So if they were, for example, here, Swiftblade could be very dead right now. But instead, it's going to be Witchlayer, who's very dead, and that's no doubt going to contribute to a bottom push if they choose to go for it. Now they're pushing against Token. And Swiftblade selling his Iron Shield, picking up a teleport, just to make sure that he can come back to base. Witchlayer does have a buyback. So we'll see if they try to force it out, or if they are actually going for a push here. Zephyr's joining them, so this looks like a legitimate push, and Swiftblade is going to TP back, so is Solstice. And Hellborn are going to be like, yep, now we're gone. So they force the Legion side to TP back, they get the buyback at Witchlayer, and that's going to be the end of that. So despite Legion have the token, Hellborn's the one that looked for the aggression. A little surprising. Hellborn continually trying to up their farm, but now the resources are going for the Legion, as they're up pretty substantially in experience and a fair bit in gold as well, looking to take down the last outer tower, and obviously token can be expiring in about 2.5 minutes, so this is their timing push. And they're looking to try to get some racks out of this, at least the base tower. And I think probably they want racks. So Hellborn going to have to respond to this. And Zephyr is going to TP back, so is Legionnaire. And we'll see what they do. Swifty obviously taking quite a bit of damage, but doesn't care all that much. He has a token. You have to be careful not to group up here, because if Lego gets the jump onto several of them and grabs a taunt, there he is. Nope, that didn't work. Meanwhile, counter jump there by Swiftblade, looking to get the kill onto Torturer here. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. Legionnaire does get the taunt off. Torturer, the first one to die, though. But the kill field and the tornado go into a whole bunch. Andrew gets the swap off. There's 2 dead already. Legionnaire also falling. The Hellborn side tying real quick here. Bubbles and Zephyr both go down. The last one alive is Bensington. Buyback on the Legionnaire, but Bensington falls. Now, Legionnaire gets a couple of kills, actually, on both Witchslayer and Drunken Master, but here's a buyback on Torturer as well, and Bubbles. So lots of buybacks there forced out, and Swiftblade will teleport on out of there. He did lose the token. And we'll see if Solstice can survive this. He's going to need to deactivate the portal key at some point, or at least grab a juke. Nope, he's charged.
3 kills
Yep,
already?
there it is. So, Ward actually here, allowing Legionnaire to get the charge off, and that ends up being technically a genocide, considering they burned Swifty's token. Now, the Legion also genocided the Hellborn and forced 3 buybacks. But now they might get some buybacks of their own forced out, because their bottom racks are exposed. And we'll see. Glyph goes off. That'll slow this down a little bit. Solstice going to buy out. And jump in there from Swiftblade. We'll see what this turns into, as they're actually going to lock down Mr. Sir Bensington. And he will run away. So, portal keys used there, and the Hellborn side will back the hell off. They do not get racks, but they do force a buyback. All in all, I think the Legion side did win that engagement a little bit, just because, you know, Hellborn really, really need their gold at this point. They really do. They can't be using it for buybacks. And they basically had to. Now, the Legion, you know, not great for them to have used one as well, but they forced 3, they only had to use 1. They didn't get a tower, but there's only so many times the Hellborn can do that, and if the Legion, you know, repeat that strategy, then they will be able to eventually break the base. Meanwhile, jump over here onto Andromeda's Legionnaire is just going to absolutely destroy him. Drunken Master looking for the potential counter onto Torturer, though, and they will get it, so ends up being a support for support. A little bit advantageous for the Hellborn side, as they got 350 gold out of it instead of 320. But not the biggest of deals. Swifty now approaching 500 gold per minute, and everybody else in the game, once again, maintaining solid farm. Swift continuing to farm pretty aggressively here, and the Hellborn aren't really punishing for it. Has a Genjuro and Portal Key on top of the Blade Frenzy, of course, so going to be difficult for him to go down here. Nice Portal Key away will stop Nightfall from actually hitting him. And he will be just fine. So they draw an ultimate there, and quite a lot of aggression. Illusions picked up here by Drunken. We'll send them into the woods. Do some scouting, as well as Swifty with his Genjuro. Witchslayer also here, looking for a jump onto somebody. So I think once again they're looking for a pick, maybe 2, and once they get that, they'll try to break base. Knowing that, you know, a bunch of heroes here on the Hellborn side are down to 1 buyout. If that, depending on, of course, whether they have the money. Slayer here looking for some wards with that Bound Eye, but won't find any, as the Hellborn's vision's mostly concentrated down here in this bottom lane. And really not too much of it from either side, actually, as there's a Legion ward here and one that was just placed over here. Neither side particularly interested, apparently, in warding up the map. Mouse doesn't want to work apparently, but anyway, off to the side here. Swiftblade will catch out Bubbles, trying to push himself away so he can live. Does shell surf over the cliff, so stun not going to hit, and the PK's there. So Bubbles going to be fine. Torture. No, he will be alright as well. And the lunge does not have enough range for that. Zephyr has a port, so his farming down here isn't the biggest of deals. And I do see this ward, so that'll be a nice counter. Zephyr going to push in bottom, and he's going to drop TP. So Legion's aggression will be stopped a little bit by seeing Zephyr push in that bottom lane, and he will leave. Now they're actually going to get a little aggressive here. They have the wards coming out, so Andro's going to get caught. 2 ults going down for her, which seems a little excessive, but Legionnaire does pick up the kill. And now perhaps Witchslayer? No, he has the portal key. So with the pick on Andro, apparently they're feeling like they can push this bottom lane. I'm not convinced that's true. Andro's a valuable hero, of course, to have. You know, saving somebody from getting swapped, especially against the Legionnaire. Or the Bubbles or the Zephyr. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that catches. Jump there by Lego, but the taunt doesn't catch anybody, and now Drunken's like, yep, now we got this. Torture's an easy kill. We'll see who's next on the list. It's going to be Legionnaire. Gustaway trying to help him live, obviously. He's the tankiest. Nice ultimate resources. Will hit a couple, and Benzington going to be the next one to fall. Ends up being a 3 deaths so far. Zephyr also on the menu, and they'll be serving for tonight as he dies. So being a 4 for nothing, I guess you consider it, because Andrew actually died, you know, in a totally different engagement. And now the Hellborn could be in some trouble. Legion looks like they're going to push straight down middle, Witchslayer already here. So is Solstice, and both Drunken and Swiftblade are looking to join him. Andrew's back alive. They've got Torture back up, but they've got 40 seconds on Benzington and Zephyr and Legionnaire, so Zephyr and Lego still do have a buyout, and I would not be surprised to see that used. Glyph goes down. They're trying to stop this, but it's gonna happen unless they use buybacks here. This is gonna be Rax. Lego does buy out, and they sort of realize that. Apparently Drunken Master a little bit late to the party. He's gonna get jumped on, and Swiftblade gonna finish off Torturer though. So actually ends up being in favor of Legion side. 2 stunned there by Witchslayer. Zephyr also buys back. We'll see if they continue to push this. Bubble's going to drop the Shell Surf and the Kelfill into 2, but that was a bad decision. CC Field goes down. Legionnaire can catch 3 with a taunt, and in the meantime, actually, Witchslayer are going to pick off Bubbles. They do finally kill Andromeda here, but the bullet goes down, killing Legionnaire. Zephyr now going to be up against 4, and he is going to fall once again. That's game. Yep, there it is. So, Hellborn, you know, they came back from a really, really bad start, and they made this a game. I did not think this was going to go 45 minutes at the 10-minute mark. I thought this would be like a 20-minute CC, but they made a game out of this. So well done to them. They still did, they still did lose, but they played a little better than I thought they would. So that'll do it for this one-game Scrim series, as Sjol takes it over TCC/Wrecked, as it's hard to know what to call him, but we'll call him TCC for now. And that'll do it for this game.